All right, guys, welcome back to Sober in the South. Today we're on episode 10, and we're gonna just kind of reflect back a little bit on my last week, and just reflect back on the last really 10 episodes and 4.5 months of my life. Now, one thing I want to say right off the bat is that I have decided a long time ago that I don't count the days. Now, I know it's 4.5 months because I know it was March the 4th when I quit drinking. But beyond that, I can't tell you day to day what day number I'm on. So one thing I would tell you is, the first 30, maybe even 60 days, that if that benefits you to keep up with it, and it might benefit you the whole time to keep up with it, if that's what it takes, that's great. But one thing I've found is just kind of get away from it. Stop reminding yourself every day that you don't want to drink, and start just not drinking. The reason I say that is because this last week I went on a mission trip, as I was saying at the end of episode 9, that we went down to eastern Kentucky, and we were so busy due to a regimented schedule that really there was no time to even think about anything other than what we were doing. So I really didn't think about it the whole time we were down there, minus one little Mexican restaurant we were at very much near the end of our journey, and we just made a couple of jokes about, now, if I was going to drink, this would be it. A nice margarita and a shot of tequila. So, but I had no desire to want to do that either, to be honest with you. So, first thing, let's get out that this week I met 5 of the most amazing teenage kids, and to see where they were at with what they did while they were there was just absolutely amazing. I want to go off a little bit and say, when I was 13 years old, all I cared about was where I was going to ride my bike to, where my friends were at, and if I was going to get to play Nintendo that day. These kids were anywhere from 13 to 16 years old, and they just worked the whole time they were there, and not one time did I hear any one of those 5 children. So I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed hanging out with them and doing some work and being able to hopefully teach them a couple things. And to the 2 Abbies, the Sophie, the Josh, and the Riley, you guys are awesome, and your parents have done a great job. Just a great, great job. And I know you don't see it, but I promise you, when you get older, you'll very much appreciate the type of person your parents are helping you become. So, with that being said, let's talk about the week at hand. So, we got to build a ramp. We got to I didn't, but a lot of the kids, or a lot of the adults, went and worked on a courthouse, an old courthouse, and they're kind of restoring it back to a non-courthouse use. Now, me personally, I'm staying as far away from a courthouse as I can, because I don't know that there's ever been a time that I've went in a courthouse and anything good come out of it. So, and this one actually had an old jail in it, so that was even more the reason to kind of just stay away from it for me. So, but we got to paint a school. A couple of the guys got to go down and help hand out food and toys and water and drinks to some less fortunate people. And of course, it was pouring down raining the whole time, so they did that. But most of the time I was building a ramp. Me and one of the guys that was there, who's actually a friend of mine, we went and built a 40-foot wheelchair ramp. And of course, anytime I do construction work, I'm not that great at it, but fundamentally I know how to make it work, and I know how to at least make it sturdy. So I always tell them, like, it may not look pretty, but it'll be here for a while. And by golly, when we were done, it was big and long and was not going anywhere. Now, it looked okay. I will say that. It looked okay, but again, obviously, no drinking. Funny thing, we were actually in a dry county. You don't see a lot of those anymore. So, but this one was. We went to a few places that had it. But I know when we went down and toured it, one of the comments was, "Now, guys, you're staying next to a recovery facility and you're in a dry county and you're here with a church. So obviously we're going to ask that you not drink. So, and what's funny is because when I thought about it, I was like, man, I'm glad this wasn't 5 months ago because I would not be on this trip. So, of course, I did go and it was absolutely amazing. So just kind of picking back up off of episode 9 that, man, if you want to know what my secret has been, besides, God surrounding me with amazing people and knowing that it was my time to stop drinking, again, the number one thing I physically do is volunteer my time. And I can't say it enough how important it has been in my journey to just be a part of so many other people's lives. So now, one of the things I want to talk about is it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning, and obviously I've been up for a few minutes making my coffee, getting my computer ready, figuring out what exactly all I wanted to talk about, and where I wanted to be with that is that this is what time I've been up every morning. Actually, it's kind of late. Last night was the first night I got to sleep in my bed in over a week and wasn't woken up by an alarm clock saying that I needed to get up. And so I'm still up early. And you know what? I'm up and I'm awake and I feel good. And there's I've almost forgot what a hangover feels like. Kind of. I absolutely will never forget what a hangover feels like. But I wake up feeling great. I woke up feeling pretty good every morning this week, other than the fact that, it's 100 degrees outside and we're just going at it as hard as we can. So, but it was a very powerful trip. I've actually only shared my journey in a group twice. Once was at a shelter where it was predominantly people with addictions, and the other one was actually this week in a group of members from my church that were on the mission trip with us that weren't in a struggle as far as any alcoholism. Now I know we had one other person in the group that is in recovery. I don't know if anyone else has been. That wasn't really a focus of the journey, but we talked about a bunch of stuff, and then somewhere in there I did get to kind of give my story, and that felt really good. Felt really good to just kind of share it with people, and just be there in that moment and let people around me just get an idea of what goes on in my head and in my life. So it's never a sympathy thing. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me, or really, in most cases, I don't even prefer that anyone know I'm not drinking, or that I can't drink, or whatever you want to say, because I don't want that stigma around me. And I have some amazing friends. I have a large group of amazing friends that if it wasn't for them, within the grand scheme of everything I'm doing as well, but if it wasn't for that group right there of men that have just treated me no different today than they did 5 months ago, except for the fact that they know I'm not drinking. So, and that's been pretty amazing, because there's no push, but at the same time, there's no sympathy. There's no, they'll still sit there. If I ran into them today, they'll explain to me that, it's a really good thing that I quit drinking, because Bud Light's really bad and no one should drink that. So, not a knock on Bud Light, because I love it. So, but even today, they'll joke with me about it. They'll happily take me to the bar along with them and know that I'm not drinking and not make a push for me to drink. They also have no problem if I don't go, and also saying, hey, we'll go somewhere else if you want to. And, I always go back to, what I say, which is, I quit drinking. I'm not expecting you to quit drinking. I'm saying I'm not drinking. So, and they respect that, and I really appreciate it for that. It also helps that my wife just hated drinking. She only did it really to be able to spend more time with me, because I love to drink. So the fact that I'm not drinking actually makes her happy because she doesn't like it anyway. So, so that's where we're at with that. So now we're going to spend the next 2 weeks down in Florida where, obviously everybody's going through a heat wave. So we'll see how that goes. But we're going to spend the next 2 days up in Lexington, going on what I will presume to be an extremely hot soccer field for some soccer games today. And you know what? I'm not sweating near as much because I don't have alcohol pouring out my veins. So, that's always a good thing. And, maybe we'll applaud that. All right, that's enough. I just wanted to see if that actually worked. So, and it does. So, I wanted to say just one more thing about the group that was around me this week. I did mention the fact that the children were amazing, and I also want to say that there was an entire group of like 20-something people that were with us that were all amazing. Every one of us we literally paid someone to go down there, put us out in 100-degree weather, and work and work and work. And the idea that this many people take their time to go do that is just something amazing. It's something that I thought about all week. Like, people that, for me, it's easier because I went this week and did that. Now, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be out of town enjoying whatever. There's a lot of these people that they get a 1 week's vacation, and this is what they're doing for their 1 week's vacation. Maybe they get 2 and they get to enjoy the other one, but the fact that these people are paying money to spend their vacation, to go down and help people that are less fortunate with them in the hottest time of the year, in a very humid place, just speaks so much into what kind of people they are. And one thing I can tell you that they are is these aren't people that have to be drinking every day. These aren't people that wake up and say, where are we going drinking tonight? These are people that have found whatever way for them to go, this is what's important in my life, not alcohol. And they probably don't think of it. It probably doesn't bother them at all because they don't have the problems that we have. And they don't sit there and try to figure out what's going on in relation to how they can plan their day around alcohol like we did or do, or wherever you're at with it. So, but they also don't get to look back at it and go, man, I'm so blessed to be here in spite of that. So that's a pretty amazing feeling from my standpoint, because when I get to get up, whether I think about drinking or not, there are so many times that I go, man, I am so happy because I get to be in this moment right now that I know I wouldn't otherwise be in because of what other state I would be in. Whether it would be the fact that I don't get to see my wife go out and find a bunch of wild horses and walk right up to them. Now, you got to be careful because those horses are wild and they will literally bite your face off if you get a chance. So that's why I didn't necessarily get as close to them as my wife, who has no fear in anything, just walked right up to them and fed them. So just so y'all know, you know who will go into a dark room first. It's definitely her over me. So, I like to sit here and joke, but I want to thank you guys also for listening and take that time to listen. And I really do hope that there's some people out there that are listening to this and you just are taking anything from it. Because I said it I want to say one of the very first episodes that I'm not doing this for any other reason than to help me process everything I'm going through. And what I want the side effect to be is that it helps someone else get past it. And if I do this whole thing and I pay every month to be able to do these podcasts because I just don't know how to find free ones, there's no money for it. I am paying to be able to podcast it. And again, it's all for the fact that I just want to do it to make me feel better. But I just hope that somebody's listening and that somebody takes something out of it. And there's a chance I'll never know it. And there's a chance maybe somebody will message me and go, hey, man, I listened to your podcast and maybe you saved my life, or maybe you just helped me over a hurdle, or maybe you just got me through a day. And that's awesome. I may never hear anything about it, but I just, I actually talk to God and say that's one of the things I want you to do for me, whether you tell me or not. I want you to let my experience and my struggles help someone else get through theirs. So if you're listening and you are one of those individuals, I just want to say thanks for listening, and I appreciate you, and I hope that you're able to get something out of it. And my return is that I get to do this, and maybe just in my head I get to think that maybe it's helping. So that's kind of it. We're gonna just kind of wrap it up there, and wrap it up with the understanding that I'm doing good again, and we're still going. We're another week into it, and we're gonna just keep being into it. And I'm gonna try to do a couple of podcasts down in Florida, so hopefully I've got all the equipment down there that'll work for me. So if you have any questions, make sure you go ahead and send me something. Just anybody, if you're listening and you just have any questions, just send me a private message or something in there, and I will answer anything. So, but for now, that's it for today. You guys have a good day. All right, bye.